Welcome to Based on True. If you enjoy emotional, human stories, feel free to like the video and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow. In this story, a man wakes one morning with a quiet sense that something in his life has shifted. He can't explain it at first, only that the air feels heavier, the routine slightly off, and his wife carries the same distant smile she once had when she was keeping secrets. What begins as a burned breakfast slowly unravels into a truth far larger, a marriage cracking at the seams, an old flame reappearing, and a choice that will change the course of multiple lives. This is a story about betrayal, consequences, unexpected allies, and the slow rebuilding of a life that nearly collapsed.
You ever wake up and just know something's off? That eerie feeling in your chest, like the air around you shifted while you were asleep? That was the morning my life began to split apart. It was a Tuesday. I remember because Tuesdays used to be quiet, a nothing day. One of those filler blocks between Monday's stress and Wednesday's momentum, but this one wasn't quiet. This one screamed in silence. The smell of burned eggs pulled me from my haze. I'd left them on the pan too long, the edges crisping to a bitter brown. Jasmine was behind me, scrolling on her phone with the kind of blank smile she wore when her mind was somewhere else. And I remember thinking, that's the same face she used to wear when she talked to him. Let me rewind. My name is Nathan Calloway. I'm 34, a self-made business owner running a mid-sized HVAC installation company with 3 guys I trust like brothers. I'm the kind of man who fixes broken boilers at midnight, volunteers at school events, and tries to remember every birthday, even Jasmine's high-strung mother's. I don't have a six-pack. My hands are always nicked from work, but I've never once walked out on responsibility. I married Jasmine 10 years ago. She was, and still is, stunning. The kind of woman who makes men talk softer and stand straighter when she walks into a room. I used to joke that I'm married up, and maybe I did. She worked as an executive assistant to a Porsche dealership CEO. Polished, charming, the center of every lunchroom story. Together, we had a daughter, Lily, 8 years old. Booked, smart, and stubborn. Looks like her mother, but got my sarcastic streak. We had the house in the suburbs, white porch, blue shutters, little backyard where I installed a fire pit last summer, a cabin upstate we visited once a year when work let us breathe. From the outside, we looked like one of those Instagram families. The ones you scroll past with a mix of envy and annoyance, but scroll long enough, and even the prettiest pictures reveal the cracks. Jasmine and I had grown quiet, not cold, not yet, but numb. Like 2 people walking side by side with just enough space between them to forget what it felt like to hold hands. At first, I thought it was just life. You get busy. You lose the spark. You get it back. That's what marriage is, right? But then I saw her phone light up one night at 2:13 a.m. She was asleep beside me, breathing steady. I leaned over and saw a name I hadn't seen in years. Zane Maddox. The last time I saw that name, it was followed by the words restraining order and hospital visit. The guy was infamous, rich, manipulative, dangerously charming. The kind of man who thought rules were suggestions and vows were for weak men. He and Jasmine were once engaged back when she was 23 and stupid in love. He cheated, lied, and got caught red-handed, or rather red. When a furious husband chased him naked through a golf club parking lot, Jasmine dumped him. The whole town laughed, and he disappeared. Until now. What's with the burnt eggs? Jasmine asked that Tuesday morning, pulling me back to the kitchen. Guess I got distracted, I said, scraping the pan into the sink. She kissed Lily's forehead, poured herself coffee, and glanced at me like she wanted to say something. I waited. She didn't. I dropped Lily off at school and went straight to work, but my mind never left that name. I texted Jasmine during lunch. Me. We should talk tonight. Jasmine. About what? Me. You know what? She didn't reply. That evening, after Lily went to bed and the TV mumbled some weather forecast in the background, she turned to me. Nate, she said, her voice softer than usual. I need you to promise me you won't get mad. That's how it always starts. Not with screaming, but with a whisper wrapped in guilt. I set the remote down. Just say it. She exhaled. Zane reached out. I raised an eyebrow and he saw Gabriella Simmons at a wedding. She mentioned me. He was curious. Said he wanted to catch up. Catch up? I repeated slowly like friends. She nodded. Yes. Just talk. Reminisce. Closure. Maybe you already a closure. I said, when he humiliated you in front of half the town? Jasmine's eyes flickered. People change, Nate. No, people reveal themselves. I said, you just finally believe them.
Ow.
She looked down at her lap, her fingers twisting the hem of her blouse. He invited me somewhere, a resort, just a few days. His wife isn't going. She's afraid of flying. I blinked. He invited you on a trip without his wife, and you're considering it. I said yes. There it was. The explosion, but quiet, like a bomb in a velvet box. I stood. Are you telling me you're flying off to a private resort with your ex-fiancé? The same man who cheated on you with half the town and expecting me to be okay with it? She looked up, her voice almost trembling. It's just a vacation. Nothing will happen. You're married to me? I haven't forgotten that. I laughed. A bitter, sharp sound that surprised even me. Could have fooled me. She stood too, now defensive. You think I'm going to cheat on you? I didn't answer because the answer was already screaming in my chest. She grabbed her purse. I shouldn't have told you. I thought being honest mattered. Oh, it does, I said. Because now I know who you really are. She paused in the hallway. You're making this bigger than it is. No, I said. I'm finally seeing how big it's always been. She left the room. I poured whiskey, sat on the couch, didn't speak. The next day, we acted like nothing had happened. She packed her bags in silence. I packed my pride. That evening, I walked down the street to Maya Landon's house. She opened the door in sweats and messy hair, holding a bowl of popcorn and a confused smile. Nathan, I didn't hesitate. Want to go to Paris? She blinked. Like now. Next week. You, Ava, Lily, and me. Disneyland. My treat. She tilted her head. This isn't a midlife crisis thing, is it? I smiled. No, it's a survival thing. She stared for a moment, then stepped aside. Come in, I told her everything. Not all at once, but enough. She listened without judgment. No pity, just presence. When I asked again, she nodded. All right, we'll go. And just like that, I started building my escape. Maya and I didn't speak much the next day. Not because it was awkward, but because things suddenly felt easy. And that was strange. I was a man walking through the wreckage of his marriage. And yet, as I sat with Maya at her kitchen table, watching our girls play with puzzles on the carpet, I felt lighter than I had in months, maybe years. She was calm, grounded, no makeup, no performance, just real. Jasmine had always needed a spotlight. Maya was the kind of woman who made a dim room feel like sunlight without saying a word. Later that night, I found Jasmine's laptop open on the kitchen counter. She'd forgotten to close it before heading upstairs. The screen showed her email and the subject line reads, Itinerary. Private villa confirmed. I didn't click. I didn't need to. I already knew what I had to do. The next morning, I pulled into a gas station after dropping Lily at school. I parked, leaned back, and opened my phone. I typed Annabelle Maddox into Google. Zane's wife, the woman Jasmine conveniently forgot to mention, and who, from what I could find, ran a series of elite etiquette retreats for high society families in England. It didn't take long to find a press photo of her standing beside a Rolls-Royce, smiling like she was born royalty. She wasn't. I remember Jasmine once mocking her, saying she was too proper to fight, too pretty to leave. I tapped contact. It led to a work email. Subject urgent regarding Zane. Hello, Annabelle. My name is Nathan Calloway. I believe your husband is currently preparing for a private vacation in MCOs. I also believe he has not been entirely truthful about who will be joining him. The woman he invited, Jasmine Calloway, is my wife. Enclosed are screenshots of the booking confirmations, copy of their joint itinerary, and an invitation email that was printed and left in our home. I'm not contacting you to cause pain. I'm contacting you because I believe you deserve the truth. Respectfully, Nathan Calloway. I attached everything. Hit send, then sat there, heart pounding. I didn't tell Jasmine what I had done. I didn't need to. The tension in our home had already shifted. She was distracted, anxious. Every time her phone buzzed, her hand twitched like she was expecting a bomb to go off. The next morning, I handed Lily her little backpack and told her we'd be going on a special trip soon with Ava and her mom, I added. Jasmine's eyes twitched. You're taking her somewhere. Disney Paris, I said. A family trip. Her lips curled into something bitter. You mean a rebound retreat? I didn't bite. You've packed for yours. I'm just matching energy. She tried to laugh. You're jealous. No, I said, walking past her. I'm done. That night, I sent a second message, this time to Zane's wife's personal number. I'd found it through a reverse search on a tagged social photo. Maybe that was crossing a line, but lines only matter when both sides honor them. Me, I hope you got my email. They fly out tomorrow. Annabelle, I received it. Thank you for your honesty. I'll handle it. Short, sharp, English steel. The next morning, Jasmine left without saying goodbye. Her suitcase clicked along the hardwood floor as she walked out. Her heels echoed behind her like gunshots. I stood at the window watching her car disappear around the corner. She didn't know it yet, but that trip would cost her everything. By the time Jasmine checked into the resort, I had already contacted my lawyer and filed divorce paperwork. The fax machine at the MKOS resort would receive 2 documents within the next 24 hours. A letter from me, signed copies of our divorce. The letter read to Jasmine, if you're reading this, it means you chose the beach over our daughter, the past over the present, a fantasy over marriage. I warned you. You chose him. Now you can keep him. I'm done, Nathan. Later that night, my phone blew up. Text after text. Missed calls, voicemails. I didn't listen to Jasmine. Nate, please. I didn't cheat. We're in separate suites. Jasmine, I only came because I thought I needed clarity. I didn't touch him. Jasmine, please let me explain when I'm back. I ignored every message. That's when the twist happened. Annabelle called me from Greece. Nathan, she said, her voice like ice speaking. He didn't tell me she was your wife. I thought he was simply networking, helping an old friend. But I'm here now in MCOs, you went? I wanted to see the lie with my own eyes. She paused, then added, they're not in separate rooms. My jaw tightened. I'm confronting them at dinner, she continued. You'll hear the outcome soon enough. Then she hung up. The next morning, Maya and I took Lily and Ava to the airport. The girls were giddy, carrying stuffed backpacks and wearing matching pink hoodies. Maya smiled at me while adjusting Ava's braids. You okay? She asked. I nodded. Getting there, we landed in Paris just as the sun dipped behind the Eiffel Tower. Checked into the Disney resort. Maya and I got one large suite with 2 queen beds. The girls jumped on theirs immediately, giggling. Maya sat beside me on the couch holding a glass of wine. Do you still love her? She asked. I was honest. No, I think I just love who I thought she was. She nodded. That kind of grief doesn't go away overnight. I don't want it to. I just wanted to stop dragging me under. She leaned into me. Then let's build something that floats. We didn't kiss that night, but something deeper passed between us. A kind of permission to heal. Back in Greece, the fallout began. Zane's wife exploded. She stormed into the restaurant Jasmine and Zane were dining at. Public, loud, raw, glass shattered. A chair toppled. Security was called. Zane tried to play it cool, but Annabelle had brought evidence. Screenshots, printouts. The letter I sent her? His game was over. She checked out. He begged her to stay. She spat in his drink and walked out. Jasmine. She was kicked out of the room an hour later. She called me 3 times that night. I turned off my phone. Maya and I walked the same the following day. The girls ate crepes and danced to a street violinist. For the first time, I laughed without guilt. Maya looked at me and said, "You're going to be all right." "I know," I whispered, "because I already am." We came home from Paris on a Monday evening. The skies over the airport were gray, the kind of muted cloud cover that made everything feel quieter. I expected it to feel like a letdown after such a freeing trip, but instead, it felt like landing on solid ground after a long fall. Maya's daughter, Ava, fell asleep in the back seat, her head against Lily's shoulder. Maya glanced at me from the passenger side, her hair messy from travel, her makeup worn off. She looked perfect. I parked outside her house, just 4 blocks from mine, but it already felt like another world. "You want to come in?" she asked, voice low. I hesitated. Not because I didn't want to, but because I wasn't sure if I deserved peace yet. "I should get Lily home," I said, then added, "But I'll be back tomorrow." She smiled. "I'll keep the kettle warm." At home, Jasmine's car wasn't in the driveway. There was a note taped to the door, handwritten, torn edges. I didn't stay in MCOs. I left after Annabelle came. I slept alone that night. And the next, I've been staying at my sister's. "I'm sorry, Jasmine." No begging, no denial, just the same vague regret that had poisoned our marriage for years. I didn't go inside. I just drove straight to Ma's. She opened the door before I could knock. Didn't say a word. Just stepped aside like she'd known this would happen. That night, I didn't sleep on her couch. The next few weeks passed like scenes in a movie. Too fast, too clean. Jasmine and I filed for formal custody. Split the house. She kept it, buying me out with a loan from her parents. I moved in with Maya temporarily, though neither of us pretended it was temporary. Lily adapted faster than I thought she would. She loved Maya, adored Ava. Our girls became inseparable. The kind of bond that forms quickly when 2 kids have seen too much too early. I try not to check Jasmine's socials, but sometimes I slipped. She posted vague quotes, photos of sunsets, one mirror selfie that got too many fire emojis from random men. But I didn't care. Not until the envelope arrived. It was a regular morning at the office. Coffee in hand, new job orders on my desk. I was feeling like a man rebuilding 1 brick at a time. Then my assistant walked in with a padded envelope dropped off by courier. No return address. I opened it. Inside a letter and a printed photo. The letter read, "Before you build your new happily ever after." You might want to know what Maya was doing at the holiday party last December. She's not who you think she is. Ask her about Zane. I stare at the photo. Maya on a bar counter, wearing a red dress, skirt hiked up, panties around her ankles, holding a drink and laughing. My stomach twisted. My hands shook. I felt like I'd been punched in the throat. I left the office without telling anyone. When I walked into Maya's house that night, I didn't kiss her. Didn't even greet the girls. She knew something was wrong before I opened my mouth. I pulled the photo from my pocket, laid it on the table between us. "What is this?" I asked. Her face didn't change. She stared at the image like it was a puzzle she hadn't seen in years. Then she laughed. "I knew this would come back someday," she said. "But I expected better Photoshop." "What do you mean?" She got up, went to a drawer, and pulled out an old leather-bound photo album. Christmas party. 2 years ago, my old company did a stupid gag competition, drunk walk contest. Everyone wore someone else's underwear over their own clothes and had to walk a line on the dance floor. She opened the album, showed me the original picture. Same pose, same outfit, but clearly different. The panties were over leggings. The background lighting was warmer in her watch. Different in the printed photo I'd received. "I don't know who doctored it," she said, "but I've been expecting it since I started seeing you." I swallowed hard. "Why would someone go through this trouble?" "Because Zane's obsessed with control," she said. "And because I'm the only woman who told him to his face that he was pathetic." I sat down, suddenly exhausted. "So he tried to poison this too." She reached across the table, took my hand. "I'm not Jasmine," she whispered. "And you, not him." Later that night, we reviewed every detail. Looked at the metadata on the photo. Even called a friend of hers who worked in it. He confirmed the image was altered. Blurred edges, shadows that didn't match. Even the reflection in the mirror behind her didn't align. I didn't need further proof. But Maya went one step further. She posted the photo to her old company's Facebook group with a public message to the coward who tried to ruin my family. Here's the original picture. Here's the date and timestamp. Here's the fact that I didn't even own that watch back then. If you try again, I'll find you. And next time, I won't be polite. The post got dozens of comments. Coworkers confirming the event. One even messaged her to say a guy named Clay, a mutual friend of Zay's, had recently asked for old party photos as a joke. We had a name. I made a call to someone else. Tony, a mechanic I'd helped out of a tough spot once. He wasn't a violent guy, but he had a way of making people reconsider bad decisions. Wanting to visit Clay? He asked. No, I said. Just let him know that if he sends one more photo, he'll be answering questions with a dentist, not a lawyer. Got it. The harassment stopped, but something in me had changed. This wasn't just about Jasmine anymore, or Zane, or even revenge. It was about rot, how deep it goes, how it spreads. I realized I'd spent years patching holes in a sinking ship, when what I needed was a new vessel entirely. And that's what Maya was. Solid, steady, real. We started planning a life, one that wasn't about forgetting the past, but building despite it. One night while the girls watch a movie, she leaned over and whispered, "I'm late." "Late?" I asked. She nodded, a smile tugging at her lips. "Our weeks." I stared at her, heart skipping. Then I smiled too. It was 3 days after Maya's whisper. "I'm late." That Jasmine came knocking. Not calling. Not texting. Knocking. I opened the door to find her standing there. No makeup. Soaked from the light drizzle outside. Wearing a hoodie that didn't fit and eyes that looked hollow. "I need to talk," she said. I stepped outside and closed the door behind me. "Lily's inside." She nodded. "I didn't come for her. I came for you." That surprised me. "What?" She took a breath like it physically hurt because I finally see it now. Everything. What I destroyed. What I ran toward. What I ran from. "You're late," I said flatly. "I know. No apology's going to fix this, Jazz. Not this time." She looked down. Zane dumped me. The second his wife filed for divorce, he panicked. Started blaming me? Call me names I won't repeat. Said I tricked him into being caught. I didn't feel sorry. I didn't feel smug. I felt nothing. I spent years defending him. She continued, telling myself he was misunderstood. That maybe I hadn't given him a fair shot, but he was always poison. And I drank it anyway. "And now you're sick," I said quietly. She nodded. Then she looked up, eyes glistening. "But you, Maya, she's everything I wasn't." "I see it now." "I didn't bring you here for a lecture," I said. "So what do you want?" She hesitated. "I want to court properly. Lily deserves both of us." That part I agreed with. I also wanted to say something I never said enough. Thank you for what? For loving me. For staying longer than you should have. And for walking away when I didn't deserve you anymore. That landed. I nodded once. "Goodbye, Jasmine." She smiled sadly. "Goodbye, Nate." And then she walked away. Not just down the street, but out of my story. Zane wasn't so lucky. Annabelle's lawyers were relentless. She exposed his entire digital footprint. Affairs, messages, a fake investment scheme he'd used to drain her father's trust fund. He lost everything. The house, the business connections, and the respect to the society's circles he once ruled. Rumors swirled that he was couch surfing in Spain, trying to sell some crypto startup nobody believed in. A washed-up playboy chasing relevance in a world that had outgrown him. I didn't care, but I made one final move. I bought their old vacation villa, the one Jasmine and I had once dreamed about but could never afford. How? Annabelle reached out. "He left everything behind," she wrote, including the title. "I'm selling it for pennies just to erase his name. I wire the funds the same day." Maya and I drove out there a week later, the girls in the back seats singing Taylor Swift songs. The house sat on a hill overgrown with weeds, vines strangling the patio. But to me it was perfect. I didn't tell Maya until we pulled into the driveway. Her mouth fell open. This is their villa. No, I said. It's ours now. Life didn't get easier overnight. We still had scars. Lily had nightmares sometimes. Dreams where her parents fought in echoes. She couldn't understand. Maya had moments where she'd touch her stomach and go quiet, wondering if this was too fast, too fragile. But we talked, we walked, we grew. By month 4, Maya was glowing. The test confirmed what we'd both suspected. We were having a baby. A boy, she whispered after the ultrasound. I squeeze her hand, or a girl. Either way, it's our fresh start. The girls were ecstatic. Ava drew pictures of herself holding a baby sibling. Lily kept asking what names we'd pick. I said, we'll choose one that means strength. One day a letter arrived. Another envelope, this time from a return address. I recognized Clay, Zane's friend, the one who faked Maya's photo. Inside, a handwritten note and a check. Maya, I'm sorry. Zane told me to do it. Said it was a joke. I didn't realize how far it would go. I lost my job. My wife left, and I deserve every ounce of it. This is everything I have left. Clay, we never cashed the check. We framed it, hung it over the fireplace at the villa. A reminder, karma comes, but sometimes you have to guide its hand. 6 months later, Maya and I stood in front of a small crowd in the backyard. Sunset behind us, the girls tossing flower petals, my business partners, Maya's sister, a few close friends. No huge guest list, just the ones who mattered. I now pronounce you husband and wife, the officiant said. Maya smiled through tears. You may kiss me and never stop. We laughed, we kissed, the crowd clapped. But the real celebration happened that night when the girls were asleep and the house was quiet. We sat on a patio, wine in hand, baby bump between us, and watched the stars. I never thought I'd find peace, I said. You didn't find it, Maya whispered. You build it.
Thank you for watching. What do you think about how everything unfolded, the choices each character made, the fallout that followed, and the new life that emerged from the ruins? Do you believe Nathan handled things the right way, or would you have chosen a different path? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I always love hearing your perspective, and if you enjoy true relationship stories, feel free to like the video and subscribe. More stories are coming soon.